Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another show of Sporting Club Presents Sports Quiz with the Stars. Actually, normally I'm the host, but when it comes to the quiz, I'm the co-host because we always have a sports star joining us for the quiz. And I'm delighted to say that today our co-host is the very respected and successful goalkeeper Asmir Begovic. We'll bring him in a moment to join us and to crack on with the quiz. So hopefully you're all poised with your pencils and pens and pieces of paper. Bit old school, I know. We have 10 questions, football questions. We'll then give you the answers. That'll be worth 20 points. We'll then have a halftime break where Asmir and myself will chew the fat of all things Asmir Begovic. And then we'll go into the second half of the quiz, another 10 questions, another 20 marks, and that's covering all the other sports as well. Just whilst I've got you, before we get cracking, a little heads up, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. till 8 p.m, our next 60-minute show is with Barry Hearn. Well worth listening to Mr. Snooker, Mr. Darts, pretty much Mr. Sports entrepreneur. He's got a great story to tell. And then on July the 7th is our next sports quiz with the Stars. And our star will be the ex-Formula One driver and now Sky Sports Formula One pundit, Mr. Johnny Herbert. And we've also got on the 21st of July, the next quiz after that is with the most successful British Winter Olympian of all time, double Winter Olympic gold medalist, Lizzie Yarnold. So that's on July the 21st. But anyway, enough about then. Let's focus on tonight. This is a man who, well, he's played for many teams, working his way up. But the main teams that he has played for over more recent years are Stoke City, Chelsea, and Bournemouth. He's now plying his trade for a little-known club in Milan called AC Milan. He is the Bosnian international goalkeeper, 61 caps, a great friend of the club as well. So hopefully he's there now waiting for us. Asmir Begovic, are you there? This is the moment of truth. I see some action. I see some action. I also see Asmir, who at the moment is on his side. Looks like you're diving to pull off a save.
I'm landscape. You want me to... I can hear you. Can you hear?
Brilliant. I can. Yes, but you look as if you're diving at the moment. Here he is. Here he is. Hello, Asmir. Can you see and hear me okay?
I can see and hear you absolutely fine, Ian. It's my pleasure.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, welcome, my friend. Thanks for joining us for the sports quiz with the Stars. I'm assuming you're speaking to us from Italy, are you?
I am indeed.
Brilliant.
I am indeed. I'm in Milan, so everything is good here. Everything's under control, working away, so all is good.
You know, it's 32 degrees here, by the way. It's absolutely boiling.
Yeah, well, it's 32 degrees here every day, so it's it's absolutely pushing our limits at the moment. That's for sure.
Have you, just very quickly before we get going on the quiz, have you remind me where you are in Italy? Obviously, we've started here again, albeit behind closed doors. What's happening in Italy?
Same here. I mean, we're back up and running. We played our cup game. We're in the cup semis a couple of weeks ago now. Unfortunately, we lost on away goals to Juventus, and then we started our league campaign up again this past Monday, and now it's full pelt. We play again on Sunday, and then it's like 11 games in the best part of 32 days. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Full sprint to the end.
Empty stadiums, yeah. A bit of a
empty
weird
stadium,
experience.
Yeah. I mean, we did it before the lockdown started, so that was strange because I think the whole atmosphere around the country was so unsettling. But I think now we've got our heads around a little bit. We know there's no other option at this moment in time, so we're getting used to it.
Okay. Now, before we get cracking with the quiz, one other thing, we always like to throw light on the foundation or the charity that's close to our star, whatever show it may be. Tonight it's you, and so obviously we want to encourage everybody watching and listening, not just tonight, but those who then watch it on YouTube in days and weeks and months to come as well, to make a small donation. Every penny counts. So, Asmir, could you very quickly enlighten everybody on what exactly is the Asmir Begovic Foundation?
Oh, absolutely. And well, thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to do so. The Asmir Begovic Foundation, which is obviously a charity that myself and my family set up about 6.5 years ago. We wanted to focus on building recreational facilities back home in Bosnia and obviously in the UK as well, because I've spent a long time in my life in the UK. So we're trying to get involved in as many local opportunities and communities as we can. I think this is a great way to encourage kids and just people in general to play sports, be active, have fun, socialize, be healthy, and ultimately, follow their dreams. I mean, through all the tough times I've been through in my life, football was always the way out for me, and I think something that I really appreciated. So we want to give that same opportunity to the next generation, maybe those a little bit less fortunate. So it's been really good. We've built a lot of facilities so far, and we want to keep that going.
Okay, fantastic. So everybody, do keep an eye out. Check them out, Asmir Begovic Foundation. I'll remind everybody at the end of the show. But Asmir, we've got 20 questions to get through, plus a halftime chat. So let's get cracking, shall we? If you're ready, I'm ready. I'll start,
good to go.
And you follow on. And we'll have a bit of a chat during the questions as well. So if everybody's ready, pieces of paper, pens, pencils, off we go. Question 1, which I will start with. So there is a list of Premier League top strikers. There's also a list of Premier League top assists. And I would like you to name 3 of the top 5. So it doesn't have to be in order. Can be 3rd, 4th or 5th if you like. But I've got 5 names in front of me with 5 figures. They're all obviously top players. Can you name 3 of them? Asmir, over to you. Question 2.
Question 2. 3 clubs I have played for: Portsmouth, Ipswich, and Macclesfield. Can you name their grounds? This is worth 3 points.
There we go. I could have picked you. Paid for about another 7 clubs as well after that. But
thanks, Ian. Thanks a lot. Yeah, no,
but,
I've been around.
But some of them are they're so obscure. I'm not going to ask people to name the ground at Milan, but neither were we going to ask people to name the ground at Yeovil. Okay, my turn. Question 3. The Liverpool fans at the Cop End, they've all got a song for Mo Salah. And, the lyrics are, just to help you a little bit more, Mo Salah, running down the wing, Mo Salah, our Egyptian king. So can you, for 1 point, very simply, name the song and the band that sings it? It's one of my favorites. It's an anthem. You should know it. Name the band, name the song. You must have played against Mo Salah a few times, Asmir. Whenever he switches in from the right to the left, you're expecting that shot, aren't you? He's some player.
Yeah, no, he's some player. I mean, absolute world-class player. Scored a couple goals against me as well. Made me look foolish a couple times. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to use a different tactic next time. I have to get physical with him. So take him out. So, but there's no other way to stop him, unfortunately.
Yeah, completely by accident, obviously, of course.
Of course, yeah. No, I mean, how else?
Okay, question 4, Asmir, over to you.
Absolutely. Since the year 2000, there have been 15 managers at Chelsea, 6 of them Italians. Can you name 3 of them? This is also worth 3 points.
When we give out the answers, we'll have a quick chat about Chelsea, because you weren't there for long, but you would have gone through a few managers. All I would say at this point is that Chelsea seem to break all the rules when it comes to this. Normally, you look at the great years of Manchester United and Alex Ferguson, Arsenal and Arsene Wenger. It's continuity. Chelsea threw that out the window. 15 managers in 20 years, and yet they win trophies most years.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they've definitely gone around about it in a different model, but as you say, it's worked. So can't argue too much with them.
No, and they've all been top names, haven't they? To a man, all been top managers. Right, my turn. Question 5. 2 teams have won the famous double, which is the league and the FA Cup. 2 teams have won it 3 times. They head the list of 8 teams in total. For 2 points, can you name who those 2 teams are. You might think it's obvious, but obviously a few others have won it more than once. So, you might have to think about this. So it's worth 2 points. 2 teams only have won the double 3 times. Please name those 2 teams. Question 6, Asmir.
Question 6. Real Madrid is the most successful club team in European history with 19 trophies. Which 2 teams are equal second with 14 trophies? Worth 2 points.
And just to be clear, we're talking about all European trophies, not just the European Cup and Champions League. So we're also talking about the UEFA Cup, now the Europa League, and the Cup Winners' Cup, which no longer exists. But have you played at the Bernabeu, Asmir?
No, I haven't. I haven't played at the Bernabeu, but one of the few I haven't played in. But I played the new camp. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to say the Bernabeu must be one of the very, very few of the sort of world's top 10 stadia that you haven't yet played with. Mind you, you're playing for Milan now, so who knows? It could still happen.
Yeah, let's hope so. Hope they keep me around for a few more years, and then we can get back there.
Yeah, very quickly, whilst I've got you, I mean, what you played for Chelsea, obviously you played for Stoke, you played for Bournemouth, etc. I'm just thinking about big clubs. Surely Milan is the biggest club you've played for. It's an enormous club, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean it really is. I, like you said, Chelsea was probably the biggest club before I joined here, but this club here, as soon as you walk through the door, you walk in with all the trophies. You see all the history of the players that have been fortunate to wear the shirt and pave the way for us. It's just amazing. Obviously, here in the city, in the country, the size of this club and what it means to the people is huge. I mean, just to give you an idea, the other night, we go away to Lecce, which everyone expects us to win, and thankfully we get the 3 points, and we come to the airport and 1,000 people singing the club's songs and cheering us on. So it just gives you kind of an idea what this club means to the people.
Yeah, and also you play in one of the world's iconic stadia, and it's different, isn't it, from most stadia? It looks different. It's a beautiful work of art. If you're into architecture, it's some stadium, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's an iconic venue, and it gives me huge pleasure to have played in. That's obviously something I can tick off the bucket list for sure, and represent this club. And I was part of the Milan derby a couple months ago now, and that was definitely the best experience I've ever had in terms of football stadium experience and atmospheres. It was incredible.
How did you do, by the way?
And you were going to bring that up, weren't you? I mean, we were up 2-0 at half and lost 4-2. So, well, unfortunate one. We couldn't hold on. But
you've got the return match, haven't you, presumably to come, so you can get your revenge?
No, that was the second game. So the derby actually this year happened quite early in the year. So that was the return, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll have to wait till next year.
Okay, brilliant. All right, so it is now my turn. Question 7. Believe it or not, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil have 15 professional football teams. 15 of them. All I'm asking you to do is to name 2 of them, and that'd be worth 2 points. I don't for 1 minute expect you to have heard, not even you, Asmir, 7 or 8 of them, because I haven't, but I've heard of 5 or 6, and certainly 3 or 4 of them are massive. So 2 teams only, name them from Rio. And of course the Maracanã, talking about iconic stadia, have you managed to get yourself there for any reason?
Well, I did actually. We played in the 2014 World Cup, so I was able, very fortunate to play there in that tournament. And our opening game in the World Cup was against Argentina, and it was at the Maracanã. It was the first game of the tournament being held at that stadium. So that was the highlight of my career, because that as you said, as iconic stadiums go, and the actual occasion, the atmosphere, how perfect everything was. Yeah, you couldn't have written a better script.
Fantastic. So there you are. You played in the Maracanã, and you're up against, well, many great players, including a certain Lionel Messi. So no hanging around for you guys. You're straight into the World Cup.
Yeah, welcome to the World Cup. And he's the one that won the game for him. We lost 2-1, and that was due to a bit of magic from Messi. And ultimately, we can accept losing to him and to his team. But, of course, would have liked to get a result, but it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Your turn, Asmir. Question 8.
Question 8. Which famous singer missed the penalty as part of the opening ceremony at the 1994 World Cup in the United States?
Do you remember that?
Vaguely. You know what? I sort of thought back at it. I was quite young at the time, so I had to Google that one.
It was quite embarrassing because it was pretty hard to miss.
Hold on, was it saved or missed? What happened?
Missed. Went wide of the goalposts, which was pretty difficult because this singer who kicked the ball, I can't say the name, it was even closer than the penalty spot as well. So frankly, it was a lot harder to miss than it was to score. But there we go. Right, my turn. Question 9. Nicknames. So Everton and Watford, they have a connection, which is that they both run out to the theme tune of Z-Cars, which I don't know whether you know this or not, Asmir. Z-Cars was a famous TV cop show in the UK in the late 1960s, early 1970s. And before you say you're showing your age, that's just general knowledge, okay? I don't remember it.
Stop.
But they both ran out, and it was based in Liverpool, which is why Everton do it. I don't know why Watford do it. Anyway, that's not the question. The question is, what are their nicknames? What are their club nicknames? Everton and Watford. And that's worth 2 points. Okay, Asmir. And the last question in this football section, we're going to be coming up to half time. Question 10 over to you, Asmir.
Question 10. Who is the most expensive goalkeeper in transfer history?
And that is worth 1 point. And it's not, ladies and gentlemen, Asmir Begovic, surprisingly.
Close.
Interestingly, Asmir, we can't say who this person is yet, but goalkeepers now are going for big money. But I used to find it odd that for years they didn't, in comparison to other players. And you speak to players of the 1999 Manchester United triple winning team, and they'll all say the first person on their list was Peter Schmeichel. You think about Keane and Scholes and Beckham and all that, but they all said Schmeichel was the most important person in that team. So it's taken a while, hasn't it, for almost equality for goalkeepers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I still think you probably still get the most value for money with goalkeepers. They still overall go for lesser fees than other positions. I mean, now you get the odd exception, in recent years that go for absolute top dollar. And I guess that top goalkeeper doesn't become available every day either, right? So I think when you do get that one that's available and you are in need, then it's a perfect match. So the price goes up. And I think the general market over the years has been inflated and has gone up. And I think it's obviously reached some crazy levels. But as you say, I mean, goalkeepers should be valued more. And some teams over the years, I mean, I can think of some transfers like Edwin van der Sar to Man United. I think, he was free. Was he free or next close to free? Jens Lehmann was only a couple million to Arsenal to be part of the Invincibles. So I think in general, goalkeepers are there to be had for a really good deal, and their value is still a little bit lower than the rest of the outfield players. Yeah,
and I would. It's hard to think of any great team who haven't had a great goalkeeper.
No, I think a goalkeeper is part of any great team. When we talk about Liverpool now, you have that spine of a team, don't you? I think if you want to have that, you need that base of a team, and that needs to be strong from goalkeeper, center half, center midfield to center forward. So I think you need that, and some teams know it, but some teams unfortunately still will allocate their funds and their budget to different positions. And for me, it's beggars belief, but hey, it's one of those things.
Okay, so we've given everybody time to just jot down the answers. Now it's for us to give the answers, Asmir. So I will start with question 1. The question was, please name 3 of the Premier League's top 5 in terms of assists. The names won't surprise you. Actually, one surprises me a little bit. But anyway, here we go. Number 1 is Ryan Giggs, 162 assists. Number 2 is Cesc Fabregas, 111. That surprises me slightly. Great player. But when you look at the others, number 3, Wayne Rooney, 103. Number 4, Frank Lampard, 102. And number 5, Dennis Bergkamp, 94. So any 3 from those 5, well done. If you got 2, you get 2 points. If you get 1, you get 1 point. I'm guessing Asmir, did you play Cesc and Frank?
Yeah. I actually didn't play with Frank. He was just after he left for Man City. I think it was that year or the year before. But I was lucky enough to train with him for a few days and saw his class just as a person, of course, as a player. But I had the pleasure of playing with Cesc Fabregas for a couple of years, and I obviously knew he was one of the answers. And what a magician he is! I mean, he could find a pass, had that magic wand that he could spray everywhere. So what a player.
Yeah. Okay. Question 2. If you'd like to give the answer, please, Asmir.
So the answers for question 2 are Fratton Park, that's for Portsmouth, Portman Road for Ipswich, and Moss Rose for Macclesfield.
There we go. 3 stadia you obviously know quite well. Probably Macclesfield is a bit back in your memory banks. But Fratton Park, they also used to say Fratton Park had a great atmosphere.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, even still now in League One, they get 18,000, 19,000 people a game. I mean, that place used to be rocking. In the Premier League, it was fantastic. Definitely one of the coolest places you'll play in, that's for sure.
Okay, my turn. Question 3. Liverpool fans have a song for Mo Salah. Mo Salah, Mo Salah, running down the wing. Mo Salah, Mo Salah, our Egyptian king. It is, of course, Sit Down by James, which is a song I particularly like, and I'm sure you do as well. Okay, question 4, and the answer, please, Asmir.
Okay, so any 3 from these 6. Gianluca Vialli, Claudio Ranieri, Carlo Ancelotti, Roberto Di Matteo, Antonio Conte, Maurizio Sarri.
What a list. And they all won trophies, didn't they? All won trophies.
Man, I mean, Di Matteo is the one that sticks out. I mean, having won that Champions League and knowing how much that means to all the Chelsea fans. So, yeah, I mean, they've had world-class managers, and I think they always, because the size of the club and what their goals and ambitions are, they get the really good pick of clubs, that's for sure.
When you were at Chelsea, who were your managers, Asmir?
So I had 3. I had Mourinho to start off with, Gus Hiddink in interim charge for about 6 months, and then Antonio Conte was in the second year, and I was lucky enough to win the Premier League in that year, and he led us to that, and could have almost had the double. We lost in the FA Cup final, but he was great.
Yeah, that's some 3 though, isn't it? That's some trio to play under.
Really, really cool. I mean, you try and take a lot of things from all managers you play for, and obviously try and implement it into your own managerial career for after or something like that. But those 3 were amazing in different ways, and I think that's what was cool about it. They all had their own style, and but all very, very effective.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. My turn. Question. Where are we? Question 5. Okay. 2 teams have won the league and FA Cup double 3 times. They are Arsenal and Manchester United. So Liverpool have won it twice, Chelsea, Man City, and then way back to Spurs, and then Preston North End and Aston Villa. But Arsenal and United have won it 3 times. Chelsea could have won it, as you say, if they hadn't lost to Arsenal in the FA Cup. But hey, still pretty good season for you. Okay, your turn, Asmir. Question number 6.
The answers to question 6 are Barcelona and AC Milan.
And that was, who's equal second in terms of European trophies behind Real Madrid, Barcelona and AC Milan. You're at Milan. We've talked about Milan. Just a massive European club, aren't they? Beyond Italy, massive European club. And do you sense that? Do you sense that Europe means a lot to Milan?
You really do, Ian. I mean, they're desperate to get into the European competition again for next season. They've had some financial difficulties over the last few years and overspending and penalties they've had to endure. And, it's about time we get this club gets back on track, because I don't think the European competitions are the same without AC Milan in them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they're a famous name. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. It's nice. It's nice seeing Ajax doing well again. They were massive in the 70s and 80s.
100%.
Bayern Munich, Milan, those sort of teams. Dare I say it, Inter actually as well. But anyway, You may not agree with that one. Right, question 7. The 15 professional football teams in Rio, all I asked you to do were name 2 of them. I'm not going to name all 15 because none of you have heard of all 15, but I'll give you the big ones. Flamengo, of course, Botafogo, Vasco da Gama, Fluminense, and Bangu. Those are probably the 5 biggest ones: Flamengo, Botafogo, Vasco da Gama, Fluminense, and Bangu. And we got 2 of those. Very well done. Did you know all those?
I didn't know about Bangu. I know about the other 4.
Yeah, massive clubs. Absolutely. You're talking about derbies. You're talking about playing in the Milan derby. Yeah, I imagine it'd probably be pretty special playing in a big Rio derby as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
at the
Brazilian
Maracanã.
clubs. I mean, at the Maracanã. I mean, obviously, Argentina. You've got Boca Juniors, River Plate. Those kind of games would be absolutely spectacular.
Okay, your turn. Question 8.
Question 8. Which famous singer missed a penalty as part of the opening ceremony at the 1994 World Cup in the United States? And the answer is Diana Ross.
To be fair, before we get too hard on her, she was halfway through performing a song at the time, singing into a microphone and then trying to kick the ball. And she kicked it. It went wide of the post and she just carried on as if nothing had happened. I would have been mortified myself, but she just carried on. So we'll have to give her some slack, I guess. Right, my turn. Question 9. Everton and Watford connected by running out to the theme tune of Z-Cars, but we wanted to know, what are their nicknames? And the answer is Everton are the Toffees and Watford are the Hornets. And that's worth 2 points. Question 10. Asmir, over to you.
Question 10. Who is the most expensive goalkeeper in transfer history? And that is Kepa Arrizabalaga from transferring from Athletic Bilbao to Chelsea in 2018.
Yeah. Just after, I think, Alisson, didn't he? Alisson broke the record, and within weeks, Kepa broke the record. As a fellow goalkeeper, I know there's a goalkeepers union, isn't there? Unofficial union where you all kind of look after each other a little bit. Why was Kepa rated so highly? Well,
I think it's a combination of things, right? One was need. They sold Thibaut Courtois. Alisson already gone to Liverpool, who was probably the best goalkeeper in the market at that time. And they wanted to go younger, someone they can probably count on for the next 10 to 15 years, ideally. And that was his release clause. Everyone knew they had the money, and that was the deal that was going to get it done. So I think all these circumstances put into one give you the most expensive deal in goalkeeping history.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to take a little break so that people can have their halftime oranges and a chance to have a little bit more of a catch up with you, Asmir. So 6'6", ideal height. Presumably, you'd think. Would it you to be a goalkeeper? Jordan Pickford gets stick because he's 5'11", I think. Although he seems to be doing pretty well for England and Everton. But if you're a goalkeeper at the highest level, does it help being 6'6"?
Yeah, I mean, I think traditionally people will always look at height and size as part of a goalkeeping makeup. I think it's a little bit more relaxed now. I think there's more to being an all-around goalkeeper in the way the modern game is. So I don't think it's as, you have to be 6'3", 6'4" minimum before you're even considered. So I think there's an all-around feel now. I think there's obviously a bit of a change in that philosophy. But for me, having the physical attributes has certainly helped. I think it's something that's important for a goalkeeper. But there's obviously different views and philosophies on that.
You could have been a centre half or even a centre forward with that height. So why goalkeeper? Why choose to be a goalkeeper?
Well, thankfully, I never came to that plan B. So plan A worked for me. I mean, for me, it was in the family. It was something I was, I guess, destined and wanted to do since I was born. My father was a professional goalkeeper in the former Yugoslavia. My grandfather also was in the game. So for me, it was natural. I started playing organized football straight in goal from the age of 5. And for me, that was the only thing I ever wanted to do, was to be a goalkeeper and try and be one of the best. And thankfully, plan A worked out really well.
You mentioned your dad. I know we've spoken before. For those watching, Asmir was a fantastic guest at an event we had at the Sporting Club, and spoke so well. Everybody was very impressed afterwards. But Asmir comes from, he says, the former Yugoslavia. He's played as a Bosnian international, played for Bosnia over 60 times. But of course, in his very early days, he was caught up in the Balkan War, and so you all had to flee Bosnia, didn't you? You were very, very young, but you still remember those days, don't you? And the whole family had to basically get out. Yeah,
absolutely. I was 4 years of age, and as you say, I mean, life gets turned upside down pretty quickly. Conflict breaks out, and obviously the only option you have is to pack up and go. So my parents packed up all our stuff in the car, and off we went, and we were able to to be welcomed into Germany and settle there for a few years, and things worked out pretty well. But yeah, it's a scary time. I guess a time that I didn't really appreciate, being 4 years of age. I think now, as you get older and you're a parent yourself and you have kids to look after and only want what's best for them, you realize how big of a sacrifice and decision they had to make, and something that I appreciate them for even more.
And you went to Germany, didn't you, at first? And I know that both your parents, having sort of top jobs in Bosnia, just had to sort of take sort of menial. I don't mean menial in a disparaging way. I just mean any job that they could get to put food on the table. So I think now that you're older, I'm sure you probably recognise that sacrifice a lot more.
100%. I mean, I was a refugee twice, and only that time, when I was 10, we were forced to move to Canada again, and to say it's difficult. I mean, for parents with kids, you can only imagine how difficult the circumstances can be. My parents, as you say, are very settled in Bosnia back then. My dad was a footballer. My mom was a trained solicitor. And everything is rosy. And then, like I said, you go to Germany where you have no qualifications. Your qualifications that you have don't matter in a certain extent, and you can't choose where to live and what you do, and both end up working at a factory. And it's something that, like I said, I'm grateful for all the sacrifice and all the hard work to be able to put food on the table for me and my brother, and provide us the best possible life that we could.
Yeah. Well, eventually you make your way over here. And what I also find interesting about you, we know you for Stoke and for Chelsea and for Bournemouth, but you had to serve your apprenticeship, and you played for on loan, also Portsmouth, but Portsmouth when they weren't that big, Macclesfield, Bournemouth before Bournemouth became big, the early days of Bournemouth, Yeovil, and Ipswich. So it took a while for you to get to where you are now and where you've been for the last 10 years or so. Looking back over all those years and all those clubs, do you sort of appreciate it, if you like? You appreciate where you are now and what it took to get there? And also, at the time, did you ever wonder, am I actually ever going to get to the highest level?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's for goalkeepers, as you can imagine, takes a little bit longer to develop. I think it takes a little bit longer to get that opportunity for the managers, your coaches,
like a fine wine with me.
Yeah, you can say that. So it takes a while to gain their trust, and by doing that, you have to go and play those games. You have to go and do your apprenticeship, as you say. You have to go learn the game, make mistakes, and learn the consequences of those mistakes. And I was able to do that. Now, was I always planning on having that many loan moves? No, not really. I mean, but some got cut short either by injury or by having to be called back for cover for the first team at Portsmouth. So there was always different reasons. But ultimately, as I look back on that journey, every loan move really served its purpose. I was able to go through the leagues. I was able to know what it's like at the bottom end of the chain, and then of course now what it's like at the top. But yeah, not every loan move was rosy. As you get injured sometimes, or the team doesn't do well and you don't do well, and then you think, okay, well, is that the highest level? It seems quite far away, but you have to persevere. You have to keep working and believe that it's all for the right reasons you're doing this for. And once then you got to the Championship, Premier League level, then okay, you can see that light at the end of the tunnel and see what the work and those sacrifices were for. And as you say now, you appreciate it. I'm 33 now, and I appreciate the game a lot more for what it was. And I was a little bit young and naive at certain times, and now it's just about making sure you enjoy every single day and continue to work hard to get better all the time and push yourself and see how far it takes you.
Now, the goalkeeping position, more than any other position in the team, the highs are higher and the lows are lower. Hero or zero, sometimes in the same game. They do say that if you're to be a goalkeeper, you do need to be a little bit weird to do it. What's the attraction? Because if you're defending, you make a mistake, yes, it could lead to a goal, I guess, but nothing's as bad or looks so bad when a goalkeeper goes to their hands, which happens to every goalkeeper. What's the attraction of being a goalkeeper when you have that negative?
Yeah, well, I mean, as I said, so when I was, so young, you're talking about 5, 6 years of age, like you don't think that far ahead. You're just like, this is really cool what I'm doing, and I want to be a goalkeeper and save shots. And it's fun to dive around, and this would be great to do it for a career. And as you go through the ranks, and then as you, like you said, you get a little bit older, and you know, things maybe don't go so well. You make that odd mistake, then there's a lot more consequences and things that come with that. So yeah, there's been times, and like even my wife's like, you know, why did you do this again? But ultimately, it is a certain mindset. We are different. We're an individual within a team, very much so. Our training is different. Our preparation is different. Our mentality is different. I think that's the biggest key, is the mentality, because we're the ones that love to save shots rather than score goals, and not, you know, most other people in the field want to have the glory and score the goals. So we're there to kind of ruin the game a little bit for some people, but it's definitely a different mentality. It's either you enjoy it or you don't, and you either embrace that pressure of being a hero or zero. And if you don't, then obviously it's a career that maybe isn't for you, and you try and do something else.
Well, you mentioned scoring goals. You, of course, have scored a goal. Talk about hero and zero, literally at the same moment, depending on which goal you're defending. So there you are. It's 13 seconds into a game. You're playing for Stoke against Southampton. I'm assuming it was just a clearance. I'm assuming you just hoofed it upfield, 97.5 yards, took a wicked bounce over Artur Buric's head and into the goal. And I think you told me at the time you kind of controlled yourself, because you thought that you scored, but you also felt really bad for it wasn't your teammate, but he was in the same goalkeeping brotherhood, fraternity, which is Artur.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was such a cool moment, but obviously one that took me by complete surprise. You know, you get to the goalkeeper. If you always think, like, if I'm going to score a goal, it'll be a last minute header or tap in at the back post or something like that, and you go mad because you save the game for your team. But this happened so unexpectedly, and it was a great clearance, mind you. So that obviously traveled quite a way and took a nice bounce for me, and got caught in the wind as well, which was fantastic. But as you say, all those things, just being caught by surprise, keep my emotions in check, a little bit, of course, bad feeling towards the other goalkeeper. So all those things made it for quite a calm celebration, I guess, or reaction at the time. But now looking back at it a few years on, I mean, you realize how cool of a moment it was, and something I cherish more and more as time goes on.
I tell you what, as you well know, but for everybody else, you two ended up both playing for Bournemouth. So well, that was a bit awkward. What did he do? Did he try and get rid of that elephant in the room very quickly?
Well, no, I mean, I went straight up, but you can bet your bottom dollar I brought that up every single day. So no, it was pretty cool. It was brought up by our player liaison, actually, Jimmy Glass, who used to be a goalkeeper as well, and actually scored a goal for Carlisle back in the day. I forget the year, but it's kept him in the Football League, and he casually brought it up, by the way, you're not the only one that scores goals and that kind of stuff. And it hadn't been brought up between Art and myself yet. It was like about a couple of weeks into my time at Bournemouth, and everyone started looking at each other and thinking, okay, this is a bit awkward. And so I just brought up, listen, Art, it's one of those things. We move on. Hope you don't feel bad, whatever. And he's like, oh, it's cool. So all bad feelings, hard feelings pushed aside, and everything was okay after that.
Good. Now, finally, because we've got to get back to the quiz, but finally, apart from being a top international goalkeeper, you also try and do a little bit of my game as well. You've got your own podcast, haven't you? Your own sports podcast that you tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, it's a cool thing. I mean, I'm trying to do it once a week, called The Season of Sports. So available on all podcast platforms. But I'm a sports nut. These kind of quizzes, I love them. Just love watching sport, following it, studying it. So any chance I get to talk about it, different topics, different sporting events around the world, then I'm all there, all for it. And this is a pretty cool way of being able to share that knowledge, and something that's gone well so far. And we'll see. Maybe it's something I continue doing next few years. Maybe get into your line of work after football. We'll see. You never know. But I'd like to keep my options open and get as much experience under my belt as possible.
Fantastic. And again, remind everybody, what's it called?
The Season of Sports.
The Season of Sports. Okay, everybody, check it out. Asmir Begovic's Season of Sports. Right, we've got to get into the second half of the quiz, and we're moving away from football into other sports, which I know is no problem for you because you love all your sports. So I'll start. Everybody, if you're ready, pens and paper to hand, and off we go. Formula One. 5 drivers have won the World Drivers' title on 3 occasions. 5 drivers have won 3 times. Can you name 3 of them? And if it helps, which it doesn't, they're all legends of motorsport. Question 12. You love your golf, don't you? So I thought I'd throw in a slight curveball golf question.
Sounds good. Well, here you go. We have a golf question. In the golf film, The Legend of Bagger Vance, directed by Robert Redford, which famous 2 golfers did the hometown hero Ranulph Juna, played by Matt Damon, play in an exhibition match worth 2 points?
So, of course, there were actors who played them, but they played 2 very, very famous golfers. So who are the 2 golfers in Bagger Vance? Right, my turn. Question 13, and it's a cricket question. Can you name the top 2 England wicketkeepers with the most dismissals in Test cricket? Catches and stumpings put together. Can you name the top 2 England wicketkeepers in Test match history with the most dismissals? I mean, you wouldn't have made a good keeper, wicket keeper, because you're too big. But they always say wicket keepers and goalkeepers have a similarity. Number one, they're all a little bit strange, because why would you want to do it? And number 2, they get as much pleasure out of taking a catch as they do scoring runs. Has cricket got into your life, or is that one that hasn't really got you yet?
Well, it's only ever really come into my life since I've been in the UK. So I try and follow it. We've had a cricket coach come into Bournemouth actually and just do a little bit of cricket demonstrations to us, because as you say, the job relates a little bit. So if you can use their techniques and maybe adapt it to our game, it can be quite helpful. But got into it a little bit last few years, but definitely not one of my number 1 sports that I'm huge into. I have some knowledge, but not great knowledge.
Very good. Right. There's a beautiful test ground not far from Bournemouth at the Aegeus Bowl near Southampton, Winchester.
That's the Rose Bowl. It was the old Rose Bowl, isn't it?
Yeah, it was called the Rose Bowl. Have you managed to go there at all?
Yeah, well, I actually used to live, when I played at Pompey, I used to live not far from there. So I was able to go there. There's a nice gym there as well. So really cool stadium.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, right. Your turn. Question 14.
Question 14. 14, it's a baseball question. Which team has won the World Series the most times? This is worth 1 point.
And I threw that in for you because you love American sports. You love all American sports, all the big ones.
Absolutely, yeah. Baseball is one of them. Actually, my favorite team has won the World Series the most times. I don't know if that's a clue or not. But yeah, love basketball, American football, ice hockey. Being in Canada, I mean, geez, that's a religion over there. If you don't play ice hockey, they look at you a bit funny. So all the major sports, obviously now soccer is growing in there. Football is growing big time. So that's catching up all the other sports. But yeah, I love watching them all as much as I can.
Okay, right. My turn. Question 15. It's a tennis question. And I'm going to think about this one, okay? How many Grand Slam titles have the Murray brothers, so that's Andy and Jamie, won between them? And I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you 3 options, and one of these options obviously is correct. So how many Grand Slam titles have Jamie and Andy Murray together won? And the answer is either 8, 9 or 10, and it's worth 1 point. So see if you can work that one out. Into tennis, and you surely are a good tennis player with that height.
Love tennis. Yeah, love tennis, play tennis, watch it as much as I can. So yeah, I definitely try and play. How about you? You play a bit of tennis?
Come on, look at me. What do you think? No, not really. I was okay. I was one of these guys, Asmir, who was quite good at most things until somebody really good found me out.
Okay, well, happens
not very stylish. Are you more of a Federer guy who's all about style and technique, or a Nadal guy who's all about power and plays his first point as if it's his last point? Or I guess Djokovic is a little bit in between the two.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Nadal guy. Rafa Nadal. I mean, he's my sort of guy. Very resilient, big power, never gives up. clay court specialist. So definitely he's definitely my favorite player for sure.
Nightmare to play against, I would imagine, because you're thinking, I've just won this point, and it keeps coming back. He refuses to lie down, doesn't he?
Exactly. So, unbelievable champion.
Okay, right. My turn. Question 16, and this is...
I'm 16.
So it's your turn, isn't it? Sorry, beg your pardon.
Yeah,
You're asking question 16.
Yeah, it's a track and field question. The heptathlon has 7 events, 4 on day 1 and 3 more on day 2. Can you name the 3 events on day 2? This is worth 3 points.
There we go. And if you know this one, then you really do know your sport. Think Jessica Ennis. Think what she does. Right. Are you a track and field fan?
A fan of everything. I can watch a bit of track and field. Why not?
Well, what's
not
your
very
favorite?
Good at it. Not very good at it.
What would make you stop? What would make you put everything down and watch?
I don't know. I love the 100-meter sprint. Isn't it? I mean, as short as it is, but it's the highlight of any event, in my opinion.
Yeah. So every sport has its star players, if you like. What about Usain Bolt? Not just the athlete, but the personality.
Yeah, everything. I mean, he's your ideal person to be the face of any sport. I mean, just his personality, as you say, his character, and then of course his talent above anything else makes him such an appealing character.
Do you know, just very quickly, I've only got off my seat in a stadium twice and become a fan rather than a professional media figure. And one was when Johnny Wilkinson dropped the drop goal in the Rugby World Cup final in 2003, because it was England and because it was 20 seconds to go. But the other time was Usain Bolt, 2009 Berlin World Athletics Championships. The year before, he'd broken the 100-meter record at the Beijing Olympics. But if you remember, he was showboating. He was mucking about as he crossed the line, and he broke the world record. Fast forward 1 year, 200 meters, and this time he meant it the whole way. And I was lucky enough to be right on the finish line. And when somebody like Bolt runs, you see them run, and then the next thing you do is look across at the clock to see what the time is. And he smashed the world record, 19.32 seconds. Nobody's got close to it since. And it was a great sporting moment, because it's going to be years before that's gone again. And the other thing you say about Usain is, unlike perhaps other people in track and field, it's kosher, it's for real, no questions.
Yeah, I mean, absolute superstar. As you say, I don't know if all records are meant to be broken, they say, but that one could be around for a while, that's for sure.
Okay, my question now is for number 17, and it's a cycling question. And very simply, there is you'll see this race indoors in the velodromes at the Olympics and World Championships, and it involves 2 cyclists from the same country in a sort of a relay, and it's got a special name to it, this particular race. I'm going to give you a little clue. Its name derives from a venue, a stadium where it first happened. You may not think that's an easy clue, but when you know the answer, you realize it is. So that's worth 1 point. I'm going to ask you if you're into cycling, but I get the impression every sport I ask you about, you're into.
Yeah, I mean, by into, do I follow it? Not on a day-to-day basis, but big championships, Olympics, all very cool sport to watch.
Yeah, all right. Tour de France?
Tour de France, yeah. Yeah, we had actually, one of the coolest experiences I've had was we had Team Sky's director of performance do a presentation for us, one of our pre-seasons for Bournemouth, and I thought that was incredibly fascinating. I mean, the lengths they go to make sure every detail is covered for the riders, for the whole team. Yeah. I mean, there's no. You can see why now that they're just the best there, at that time, and why they achieved so much success.
Was it Sir Dave Brailsford?
No, it was a lady. Oh God, I forgot her name.
Okay,
but she was just impressive, and their whole philosophy was incredible.
Marginal gains, that's what they're all about. Marginal gains. It's not improving one thing by 100%, it's improving 100 things by 1%.
Correct.
Yeah, there we go. Right, your turn, Asmir, question 18.
Question 18. Muhammad Ali lost 5 fights in his career. Can you name 3 of the 5 men he lost to? Worth 3 points.
Are you into boxing?
Yeah, well, I like a good fight. Absolutely. Tyson Fury was pretty interesting the last year or so, and Anthony Joshua, big champion. So all this kind of guys. Yeah, who doesn't like a good fight, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether you might be you're a little bit younger than me, so I don't know whether it resonates so much. But one of the pub questions you always asked is, like, name the 10 greatest sports people of all time, and Federer's in the mix, and Jack Nicklaus, and Pele, or Maradona, or Messi, and Gretzky, and Michael Jordan, all these people. But almost everybody unanimously says number one is Muhammad Ali. Not just because of what he did in the ring and how he did it, but also for everything that he stood for outside the ring as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's right, because I think he was unbelievable in the ring, had his own unique style, which I think, again, we mentioned Usain Bolt earlier. I think that made him so interesting for people and made him so appealing. And I think that was pretty cool. But also, as you say, from out of ring point of view, and the difference that he made in people's lives, and for all the causes that he stood for, I think was pretty impressive.
If you get the chance, if you like your films and your docu-films, have you ever seen When We Were Kings?
No.
Right. Check it out. When We Were Kings. It's the whole story behind the Rumble in the Jungle, him versus Foreman. But it's not just the fight, it's the build-up, it's the music, it's Ali getting the whole of Zaire, as it used to be. It's now the Democratic Republic of Congo, on his side. It's just an insight into the character that's Ali. And don't forget, he won the fight. He was 33 years old, I think, against this guy Foreman, who in his previous fights had knocked Joe Frazier down 6 times in 2 rounds. People thought Ali was going to be killed that night. And do you remember the rope-a-dope? He ended up getting Foreman to tie himself out. If you get a chance, it's an hour and a half long. When We Were Kings. It's the most amazing docu-film. Okay, my turn. Question 19. It's a rugby question. Jason Leonard holds the most caps for England with 114. Can you name 2 of the next 3 on the list most caps for the England rugby team? And they may surprise you, these names. I might give you a little bit of a clue. They're playing more these days than they used to do. Okay, and finally, question 20. Asmir, final question of the quiz, and I thought I'd give you a nice American sports one.
Yeah, well, very kind of you. Question 20 is a NBA basketball question. There are 2 NBA teams in New York. Can you name them? Worth 2 points.
There we go. One, most people will know. The other one, people may have to have a think about. We
could give them a clue if you wanted to, but.
If you want to go on, then what's your clue?
Well, they had moved boroughs in New York before, so.
There we go. And you know what? This whole franchise moving that goes on in American sports, of the Dodgers used to be the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then they moved and became the LA Dodgers. I mean, you can't get further away. But there are still people in New York lamenting the loss of the Brooklyn Dodgers, because they're dead to them now. They're not the Dodgers. They're over in LA. It means that much, doesn't it? Yeah.
No, I mean, fans are very patriotic and love their teams in that way. So, yeah, I mean, they had to move for the reasons that they had, but that's a big move.
It's a big move. Okay, right. Let's go through the answers very quickly. My turn first. Question 11, Formula One. 5 drivers have won the world drivers title 3 times. Can you name 3 of the 5? Well, the 5 are Sir Jack Brabham, Sir Jackie Stewart, who, by the way, is going to be a Sporting Club lunch guest in November the 18th. We should be fine for that. There may be social distancing, but it should be fine. So one of the greats of Formula One. Niki Lauda, the sadly recently departed Niki Lauda, Nelson Piquet, and the great late Ayrton Senna. So if you've got 3 of those 5, 3 points. If you got 2, you got 2. If you got 1, you got 1. Question 12, Asmir.
Question 12 was, in the golf film The Legend of Bagger Vance, directed by Robert Redford, which famous 2 golfers did the hometown hero Ranulph Jana, played by Matt Damon, play in an exhibition match? And the answer is Bobby Jones and Walter Hagen.
Yeah, ended up as a tie. but then again, it was only a film. Right, so question 13, cricket. England's top 2 wicket keepers in terms of most dismissals in Test cricket. They are Alan Knott with 269, followed by Matt Pryor with 256. So very well done if you got one or both of those correct. Question 14, Asmir.
Question 14 was a baseball question. Which team has won the World Series the most times? And that is the New York Yankees, 27 times.
Which is your team.
Correct.
Yeah. And by the way, by a mile, they're the most successful team in baseball. And a real franchise. They're up there with Manchester United, Real Madrid, the New York Yankees. Yeah.
Worldwide name, worldwide brand now. So, I mean, definitely the standard for baseball in America.
Okay, my turn. Question 15. The tennis question was, how many Grand Slam titles have the Murray brothers between them won? Was it 8, was it 9, or was it 10? Well, the answer is 10. Andy's won 3, which Wimbledon twice, men's singles and the US Open. And Jamie has won 7, either in men's doubles or in mixed doubles. So the answer is 10. Question 16, Asmir.
Question 16 was a track and field question. The heptathlon has 7 events, 4 on day 1 and 3 more on day 2. Can you name the 3 events on day 2 was the question. This is worth 3 points, and the answer is long jump, javelin, and the 800 meters.
There we go. Always ends with the 800 meters, and then they all collapse on the floor after 2 hard days. Question 17, cycling. What's the name of the relay race that you'll see at velodromes at major championships? 2 cyclists on the same team working together. And I gave you a little bit of a clue. It's named after the venue where it first happened, but it's called the Madison. And that's because, Asmir, it first appeared at
Madison Square Garden.
Very, very good in New York. So 1 point there for that. Question 18 about the great Muhammad Ali. Over to you, Asmir.
Yes, that was the boxing question. Muhammad Ali has lost 5 fights in his career. Can you name 3 of the 5 men he lost to? That was worth 3 points. And the answer is Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Leon Spinks, Larry Holmes, and Trevor Berbick.
There we go. Joe Frazier, it was the first fight of an epic trilogy. He won the second and he won the third. The third one being the Thriller in Manila. I love these names. Ken Norton, he fought him 3 times. Lost 1, obviously, had his jaw broken in the first round and fought 10 rounds. Can you believe that? Leon Spinks was a massive upset. He won it back. And then Larry Holmes, Asmir. I remember interviewing Larry Holmes. It was a long time ago now. And Larry Holmes started crying, talking about beating Ali. And the reason why is because Ali was his hero. And when he fought Ali, Ali was gone. And you could see Ali was gone. And you could see the first signs of much bigger problems for Ali. And Holmes, he said he hated it. He had to do it, but he hated it. He hated punching his hero, which was quite something. Okay, question 19, rugby question. Jason Leonard holds the most caps for England with 114 caps. Can you name 2 of the next 3? May surprise you. Second is Ben Youngs, the scrum half, on 99 at the moment. Third is Dylan Hartley on 97. And fourth is the prop Dan Cole on 95. So great players, but they're definitely playing more these days. So they've superseded the Martin Johnsons and the Lance Delalios of the world. And so we come to the final answer of the final question. Asmir, over to you, my friend.
Yes, and this was an NBA basketball question. There are 2 NBA teams in New York. Can you name them? This was worth 2 points. And it's the famous New York Knicks. And the second team is the Brooklyn Nets, which was also before known as the New Jersey Nets.
The New Jersey Nets, yes. And I assume you've gone to see either the Knicks or the Nets.
Do you know what? I hate to admit this, but it's on my bucket. I've never been to Madison Square Garden, but I was actually in the Barclays Center for an NBA draft, which was the Brooklyn Nets arena. So unfortunately, the NBA and football seasons align, so you don't get to go over there much and watch them play, unfortunately, but something after football.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, guess what? That's just flown by. We've done an hour. We've done the quiz. Hopefully everybody at home found that not too difficult, not too easy. I always think, Asmir, a quiz out of 40 marks, if you're getting mid-20s to low 30s, I think is about right. It's no fun if you don't know any answers, but we don't want anybody being too smart either.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good score. If you get it, hopefully most people were in that area. But it's all about taking part and having fun. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. So it's been a pleasure to take part.
No, absolutely. Listen, Asmir, very quickly, another quick shout out, the Asmir Begovic Foundation. Do check it out. Any amount, small or big, really, really makes a difference to the amazing work that Asmir and his foundation are up to. Asmir, thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. We really appreciate it. When's your next game? Who's it against?
We play Roma on Sunday. So it's a big game. European places up for grabs. So a big game to look forward to. And thanks again for having me. And you're a top man. And I always appreciate being on any kind of show and any kind of event with you.
All right, fantastic. Well, listen, thank you so much again. Have a great night. Best of luck for the rest of the season, Asmir. And we'll catch up with you again, hopefully, very soon.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Bye, Asmir. Okay, everybody. Well, we come to the end of another sports quiz with the Stars. Huge thanks to Asmir Begovic. What a sport he was. I hope you enjoyed the quiz. Hope you enjoyed getting to know Asmir. If you didn't know Asmir before, you'll see what an engaging and erudite individual he is. So join us again on Tuesday when we have the 60-minute show with Barry Hearn. Trust me, I know Barry well. I've interviewed him many times. You're going to want to listen to this. And then on the 7th of July is our next quiz, and that is with the Formula One star Johnny Herbert. So all that's left for me to say, obviously, is keep cool on this hot, sticky night. Stay safe. Continue to stay safe. We're not out of the woods yet. Have a great night. Have a great weekend coming up, and we'll see you on Tuesday night. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and good night.